Most people don't set out to destroy their own lives, but the road to ruin is paved with tiny, almost imperceptible steps. There's a brutal, unspoken truth about married women that most men fail to see. It's not that they're weak. It's not that they lack morals. It's that human nature is wired for temptation. No one wakes up one day and decides, I think I'll betray everything I've built. It happens gradually, in the smallest moments. An innocent conversation, a lingering glance, the way her heart beats just a little faster when she gets a text from someone who isn't her husband. Psychologists call it the slow erosion of boundaries, one thought at a time, one step at a time, until one day she looks in the mirror and doesn't recognize the woman staring back. So why do some married women become easy prey? And more importantly, how do they justify it to themselves? Let's uncover the truth. Chapter 1. The Unspoken Void. Why some married women seek external attention. The greatest marriages are partnerships. It can't be a great marriage without being a partnership. Helen Mirren. Marriage at its best is a bond that withstands time, trials, and temptations. But not all marriages remain as strong as they once were. Some women, despite their vows, find themselves drawn to attention outside their marriage, not for physical reasons alone, but for something far deeper, psychological fulfillment. The biggest mistake people make is assuming these women are looking for an escape. In reality, many are simply searching for something they lost along the way. Human beings crave connection. Women, in particular, have a deep-rooted need for emotional intimacy, not just physical presence. In the early days of marriage, that intimacy is intoxicating. The late-night conversations, the stolen glances, the feeling of being seen. But over time, routine takes over. Conversations shift from dreams and desires to grocery lists and household chores. Passion gives way to duty. And worst of all, she starts to feel invisible. This is where the danger begins. Dr. John Gottman, a renowned relationship psychologist, explains that the silent killer of relationships isn't conflict, it's indifference. When a woman no longer feels noticed by her husband, her subconscious mind starts seeking validation elsewhere, sometimes without even realizing it. People will do anything to avoid being lonely, even if it means losing themselves in the process. Mitch Albom. A simple compliment from a stranger, a conversation with a man who actually listens, a moment where she feels interesting again. And suddenly, that fleeting interaction feels like oxygen after years of suffocation. Marriage brings stability, but stability often kills excitement. Psychology calls this the Coolidge effect. The idea that novelty triggers desire. If every day looks the same, if every conversation feels rehearsed, then the slightest spark of something new can feel electrifying. Not because she doesn't love her husband, not because she's a bad person, but because she misses the thrill of feeling wanted. We are most alive when we are in love, but love is not just about being together. It's about being chosen again and again. F. Scott Fitzgerald. When a woman feels pursued, when she feels she has power over a man's desire, it reminds her of a version of herself she thought was long gone. The confident version. The effortlessly attractive version. And even if she never intends to cross a line, she may start walking closer to it. Another overlooked reason? Loss of identity. Before marriage, she was an individual. She had dreams, passions, ambitions. After marriage, she becomes someone's wife, someone's mother, someone's caretaker. Her identity shifts from who I am to who I am to others. And when she no longer feels like her own person, she may seek interactions that make her feel separate from her role. Sometimes that interaction comes in the form of another man. 2. The justification game. How the mind excuses betrayal. The mind will always find a way to justify what the heart has already decided. Anonymous. No woman wakes up and thinks, today, I'll betray my marriage. It's a slow, slippery process, one that is often rationalized long before it manifests in reality. Why? Because guilt is an unbearable weight. And if someone can convince themselves that what they're doing isn't really wrong, they no longer have to carry that weight. It starts with innocent thoughts. It's just a little attention. What's the harm? I'm just talking to him. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not like I'm cheating. I'm just enjoying the moment. The human brain is a master of self-deception. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance, the tension that arises when actions contradict beliefs, and when that tension becomes unbearable, the mind bends reality to protect itself. The easiest person to fool is yourself. Richard Feynman. So she plays mental games. She downplays her actions. It's just flirting. It's not like I'd actually do anything. She shifts the blame. If my husband paid more attention to me, I wouldn't need this. She compartmentalizes. This has nothing to do with my marriage. It's just something for me. But here's the truth. Most betrayals don't start with a physical act. They start emotionally. And that's what makes them so dangerous. Late-night texts, deep conversations, sharing personal struggles with another man instead of her husband. It feels harmless until it isn't. Cheating isn't always a physical act. The moment you start keeping secrets from your partner, you've already crossed the line. Unknown. The final and most dangerous rationalization: I deserve this. At this stage, a woman no longer questions her actions. In her mind, they are justified. I've sacrificed so much for this marriage. I deserve to feel good again. He's ignored me for years. If he doesn't care, why should I? I've been faithful for so long, and it's gotten me nowhere. What's the point? This is the point of no return, because once a person believes something is justified, nothing can stop them. 3. The breaking point. When there's no turning back. The chains of habit are too weak to be felt until they are too strong to be broken. Samuel Johnson. Every story has a moment of no return, the moment when the harmless conversations turn into something real. The first text she knows she shouldn't send. The first just as friends meeting. The first time his hand lingers too long and she doesn't pull away. That's the shift. Because after the first time, the second time is easier. What we do repeatedly, we become. Aristotle. At first, lying feels unnatural. The guilt is there, but over time, it turns into strategy. She becomes better at covering her tracks. She starts believing her own lies, and eventually the emotional connection she's built outside of her marriage feels more real than the one inside of it. At this point, there are only two outcomes. 1. She gets caught. 2. She leaves, unable to live a double life anymore. Why do some married women become easy prey? Because they're not looking to cheat. They're looking to feel something they lost. And once they find it, walking away feels impossible. Until next time, take care.